Hello, I'm Father Ben from St. Francis Episcopal Church, and this is my weekly message for our Friar's Messenger. The Gospel assigned for this morning is from Matthew chapter 12, and in it, Jesus and his disciples are walking through a grain field on the Sabbath, and his disciples are hungry, and they pluck the heads of the grain and eat it. And the religious leaders of the day are horrified that they're doing work on the Sabbath. And so my response to that is for Christians, I'm not talking about anybody else, other religions and how they operate on the Sabbath. I'm talking about for us as Christians, as Episcopalians. What does it mean not to do work on the Sabbath? Well, when I was growing up, we had blue laws, and stores were forbidden to be open, except for certain stores, and I think some grocery stores could be open certain hours of the day. I remember when those laws were lifted that I was ecstatic. It would give me something else to do on Sunday. So, but Jesus, responds to the religious leaders being horrified that they're doing work on the Sabbath. And it gives an example of David and his men who went into and ate the bread that was reserved for the priests, in the bread of the presence. And then he also talked about the priests who do things that are not supposed to be done on the Sabbath, but do them in their work on the Sabbath and in the temple, and they are held guiltless. And then Jesus gives a great line that from Hosea, that I desire mercy and not sacrifice. You need to know what that means, he asks them. And then they bring him a man with a withered arm and says, is it lawful to heal or not on the Sabbath? And Jesus takes up that challenge and not only answers the question, but heals the man's arm. And so what I'm hearing is that there are some things, and the Sabbath today, sometimes you can't, it's a mixture of stuff. Sometimes it doesn't seem to exist at all. People have their own Sabbath day. As a priest, I'm here on Sundays. I do what is necessary, or try to do. And my Sabbath is when I take a day off during the week. And other people, people that work in hospitals, police officers, all of that. So the Sabbath, taking a day off, is good for the soul, is good for our bodies. And I think what I hear Jesus saying is, on the Sabbath, you can do what is necessary for that goodness. If you are hungry, you may eat. If you need to heal, you heal. You do good on the Sabbath. And don't get caught up in just the rules. Christianity and other religions also, but I'm speaking again about Christianity, has had so many rules and still have rules about people that are welcome and people that aren't welcome. We're all God's children. And as I often say, because somebody else said it and I liked it, you will never look into the eyes of anyone that God doesn't love. And if they need help on the Sabbath, on your Sabbath, they are in need, we help them. That's my take on this. You may totally disagree on what the Sabbath means to you. And again, I'm only speaking for us as Episcopalians here at St. Francis. Let me just put it that way. So, but do take your Sabbath and do what is beneficial for you on that day that nourishes your soul. Not your pocketbook, maybe, but your soul.